कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद। Okay, let us start.
यस प्रभु जी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, जन बल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन, जमुना तीरा वनचारी, जमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा, जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा, जय सुदर्शन, जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी, जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी, नयन पथगामी भव तुम्हें, राधे 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 माधव राधे, राधे 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 गोविंद राधे, श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन राधे, जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे, जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय, जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय श्रीपाद जय जय गुरुदेव श्रीपाद गुरुदेव श्रीपं गुरुदेव श्रीपं जय 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 श्रीपा 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 श्रीपं पतित पावन जय श्रील गुरुदेव परम तारण जय श्रील गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय 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 गुरुदेव 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 जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, राधा माधव की जय, गौर निताय की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज श्रीपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद। हरि हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादं सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति स्वरूप दामोदर स्वामिनिति नामिने नमः सद्भक्तमनाय मणिपुर उद्भावय च प्रभुपाद लसद्वाणी प्रचार निरतायते नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी नाम संकीर्तने जस्य सर्व पाप प्रणश्यति प्रणामो दुःख शमनं तं नमामि श्रीहरि परम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवी सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जय परमानंद है माधव 6.16.59 ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय स्मृत्वे हायां परिक्लेशम् स्मृतेहायं परिक्लेशम् ततः फलविपर्ययम् अभयं चापि anihayam. Abhayam chapi anihayam. Sankalpat viramet kavihi. Sankalpat viramet kavihi. Snutyahayam pariklesam. Tatah phala viparjayam. Abhayam chapi anihayam. Sankalpad viramet kavihi. Smrutyahayam pariklesam. Tatah phala viparjayam. Abhayam chapi anihayam. Abhayam chapi anihayam. Sankalpad viramet kavihi. Synonyms. Smrutya, remembering. Ihayam, in the field of activities with fruitful results. Pariklesam, the waste of energy and the miserable conditions. Tataha, from that. Phala viparjayam, the opposite of the desired results. Abhayam, fearlessness. Cha, also, api, indeed. Anihayam, when there is no desire for fruitive results. Sankalpat, from material desire. Viramet, should cease. Kavihi, one who is advanced in knowledge. Translation. Remembering the great trouble found in the field of activities performed for fruitive results, and remembering how one receives the reverse of the result one desires, whether from matter actions or from the fruitive activities recommended in the Vedic literatures. An intelligent man should cease from the desire for fruitive actions. For by such endeavors, one cannot achieve the ultimate goal of life. On the other hand, if one acts without desires for fruitive results, in other words, if one engages in devotional activities, he can achieve the highest goal of life with freedom from miserable conditions. Considering this, one should cease from material desires. Jai Guru Maharaj Sripad Jai. So this is very important message from Srimad Bhagavatam, that one must be freed from all unwanted material desires. Wanted, unwanted. What is wanted, what is unwanted? Material desire is unwanted. Any desire that is not leading to liberation is unwanted. Dharmasya hi apavargas. Na artha arthaya upakalpate. So, the ultimate occupations of living entity must always lead towards liberations. Whatever occupation we take up, we have to apply a test on that. So, how do we take up on activities in organizations, software companies or other companies? Do a software engineer directly engages in any activities without any approval? Do we just whimsically do anything what we want? Do we just go to the system and code? No. Before we do any activities, first of all, a requirement gathering happens. What is required? Right? Have we ever done requirement gathering for our life? What is our requirement? Scripture say you have a single requirement. What is that? Solve the biggest problem is repeated cycle of birth and janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosanu darshanam. Single biggest requirement is that you must resolve this repeated cycle of birth and death. Means you should go back Godhead. So all the activities you're going to do should be towards this requirement. So requirement gathering phase involves subject matter expert, involves technical experts, involve architect, also involve the underlying developers. So they all brainstorm. They all brainstorm on the requirements. What is the real requirements? So similarly, in your life's requirement, we need to brainstorm. We need to take the help of a subject matter expert. Who is subject matter expert? Somebody who is expert in that subject. Who is expert in the subject of attaining perfection? Who is a Mahatma? Satata kirtayanto mam jojana varjupasati. Satata kirtayanto jatantascha drudhabrata. And who is a drudhabrata? Who is very strongly determined in the path of devotional service. Who is engaged in 24-hour glorification of the Lord and Sankirtan. Who practice devotional service with firm determination. Who is a Mahatma? He is the subject matter expert. So we need to involve a subject matter expert when we analyze the requirement of our life. Means we must involve a pure devotee. Then whoever will help us in this journey of self-realizations. Maybe fellow pure devotees or fellow God brothers. Even fortunate people may get assistance from parents, relatives. So you identify who all will help you in your requirements. And then find out the plan, the journey, the iterations. In each iteration, what are you going to achieve? In each phase of your life, how much you are progressed? How much purifications happened? How much cravings for material enjoyment is destroyed? How much controlled is the mind? How much psychological control? How much physiological control? And how much spiritual enlightenment has happened? So, in the field of software, everything is unit tested. The delivery has various stage of testing. But the very first testing is called unit testing. Nowadays, the development happens through unit, test-driven development. First, write a test which fails and make it success. Suppose we take up a plus b, which returns the value of a plus b. Suppose take two thing a divided by b. Okay. So the method which will take two parameter a and b and which will return a division of a by b. So in test driven approach, first some parameter will be supplied. A will be something greater than 0, b will be also something greater than 0. A will be something equal to 0, b will be greater than 0. A will be greater than 0, b will be equal to 0. Like that. These are the combinations of parameters. So 3 tests come immediately. Then another 3 tests. A will be negative value something less than 0, and b will be something greater than 0, b will be less than 0. Then further tests are there. So all these parameters have been tested. And what is the outcome? Is it the expected outcome? If the expected outcome is what we have written, then it is successful. All tests are successful. So this method is workable. That is unit testing. Unit testing is done by the developer himself. So similarly, in our life, when we understand the requirement and work for the requirement, okay, I have jumped directly to the requirement. In between, there are so many things. First, breaking up the task, dividing the task, making one user story is the product backlog designing. So once you understand the requirement, then break into product backlog. Similarly, in your life, when your requirement is this, how you will go to fine-tune your day-to-day activities? And what are the outcomes? That is secondary. So we'll go to the next step. In the initial steps, first you make your life's journey. What you are going to do. That is called product backlog. Daily activities in your 24 hour, how will you be engaged in Krishna consciousness journey? So that ultimate purpose of human life, to go back Godhead, is ascertained. That should be the phase where you should do what you want to do. Outline all that what you want to do in order to move swiftly in the process of self-realization or going backward. So whenever there is user stories, there will be many trackers. There will be a management will be tracking. There will be a sprint review after every sprint. And in the beginning of the sprint, each task will be distributed. Every day, there will be a stand-up call. Even after the day, some people do the call also. But every day one should say what is the progress he made, what are the challenges he faced, and how much assistance he needs, which area. If we become so systematic, we can approach our spiritual authority, our Sri Guru, our Shiksha Guru, and seek, explain him what you did today, what is the challenges you face today, and how you can resolve it, how much help you need in which area. So this is called that introspection or judging yourself. Every day you are judging yourself. In software, every progress, every single day's effort is calculated, is analyzed, is introspected, and the identifications of any challenges, issues, risks is done, and a step taken to mitigate those. So should we work in that regard for the ultimate purpose of human form of life, we should also introspect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Chitte Karaha Vichar. Vichar Karile O Chitte Pave Chamatkar. Until we do not introspect or analyze the mercy of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then how will enjoy or how will release the amusement of spiritual life? Chamatkar. This mind can get amazingly happiness, which you have never thought of. Can get. But are you introspecting how merciful is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has given us this? Are we taking help of these subject matter experts, pure devotees? Are we seriously following the instructions of subject matter experts? Are we introspecting? Are we applying a test, what I wanted to achieve and what I got? Is the test failed or successful? So these are the essential processes which should be applied in your regulated devotional services. Then it will be called regulated. We are regulating. We are applying all systems of regulations to it, so that it will have a smooth and swift progress. So in the next page, when a developer starts developing something, he does the unit testing, and once he's successful, that code is delivered. That code will be tested by another tester or functional guy who knows what functionally should be achieved. So tester can manually test it or automatically through a system using a tool can test it. Then it will go for system integrations. How much, how this single piece is contributing to the whole piece. That is integration, system integrations. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes,
Audible?
Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay, the current went out. Anyway, yeah, Wi-Fi should be working. So, what I was telling, that are we integrated with the system? Means is the developed peace is really contributing something to the whole system. So in our day-to-day life, whatever we have done, has it really contributed to the ultimate purpose? Apavarga. Dharmasya hi apavarga. Means our each day activities, is it contributing to self-realization? Will we go back Godhead? Have we cleansed more anarthas today? What is the contribution of my this day activity or the group of activities for a week also? Is it contributing something to our self-realization? Is the pleasure increased? Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam? Is my self-realization, the stage of self-realization is better than what it was a week before? This level of study, this level of progress is captured in system integrations. Yes, it is successful. Should there be any issue, a new bug will be raised. There is some mistake in this. Please rectify it. Then the developer reworks on it. So similarly, every day introspection should happen. A subject matter expert or fellow devotees or Shiksha gurus should be involved. Mitho Gupta Katha. There are altogether 6 Chaya Satsanga. Among these 2 things are there. Mitho Gupta Katha. One should reveal his heart to such a pure devotee. To the devotee who can really help and ask him the suggestions or resolutions of the problem. Then he can progress. So this systematic way of devotional service is called regulated devotional service. If devotional service is not regulated, when a devotee has not come to Raganuga stage, he will be a mere imitator. And an imitator simply imitates for the show of devotional service. Might be with a second interest. There are so many sahajiyas who show them as the devotees of Krishna, like gopis. They dress them like gopis or Guranga Nagaris. They show with crocodile tears. They make so much shows of their purity. At the end, they go to hell. So this is very important that one must introspect. What to introspect? What has been achieved? Am I successful? We should introspect what I did yesterday, what I'm going to do today. So based on what I did yesterday, what I have to do today will be clear. What is that? I need to rectify what is the priority of my life. So this way, the introspection should happen. We should remember the outcome of all our previous activities. Whether it was contributed to self-realization or not contributed to self-realization. What obstacles, what made me fall down from the path of self-realization, from the progress of self-realization, or from the, so we can make a save point in our journey. What is save point? Save point is a, suppose you have the graph of progress in the journey of Krishna consciousness. You are at a height and all of a sudden you fall down. Where you are is the save point. That is the things you must remember. In some days, your progress in Krishna consciousness is ecstasious. Keep that fresh in your memory. Make it a save point. When you are chanting with pure devotees, when you are obeying the order of spiritual master, when you are doing kirtan with your spiritual master, or when you are worshipping the deity, or when you got some transcendental realizations, what is the state of that happiness? Or what is the state of that spiritual enlightenment? Make a save point of it. So that you can introspect and you can go back to that stage, and in that state, how was your thought? How was your activities? How was your plans? Simply recollect and reapply. That is called save point. So the most amazing endeavor, the most amazing enthusiasm, and the most amazing faith, most amazing determinations must be retained and should be continued. We all have some save point which have this amazing achievement. But have we made a save point and apply in all time? No. Then our progress is very less. Because we have not judged what is the best save point. What is the most amazing save point? And that most amazing save point can be always better, better, and better. And that better should, the best save point which we found should apply every day. So that level of remembrance is required. If we remember what happened, similarly, it is not only about what is the best or amazing thing you achieved, what is the worst happened to me also should be remembered. By remembering that, one will never do those activities what made him worst in that day. That is the purpose of remembrance. This Smriti Shakti, Mataha Smritir Jnanam Apohanam cha, is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For what purpose? Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanitam vimudhana pasyanti jnana chakshusa. While doing the day-to-day activities, a wise person sees the very fact behind that. Whether this is increasing his life's achievement towards self-realization, or it is deteriorating, or it is degrading. This kind of analysis or this kind of understanding only a person who is having a eyes of Divya can see, others cannot. With repeated suffering also, if people cannot get this Jnana Chakyu, only those who are introspecting, who are surrendering to a subject matter expert, or a few devotees who are being thoroughly analyzed and who is ready to be analyzed, who is not really interested for his progress, even though he has all this facility, all this system, all this process, nothing going to help him. Nothing can help him. So the readiness of a person and the commitment of the persons and the ownership of the person towards the achievement of self-realizations is the most essential part. All the term which I used is also required in software delivery. He must be owner of the task. He must be responsible for the task. He must be putting all his endeavor on the task. He must be consulting with subject matter experts. He must be testing everything. He must be testing it through a functional expert also. Not only he himself tests. He also get it tested through a functional expert. And then he also get tested through the system integration, whether it is really contributed to the systems. And if a bug comes, if a feedback comes, one must implement it. With this process, we must remember our everyday activities and find the best outcomes and preserve it. Preserve the most important set points and also preserve the worst. Then one will be called as intelligent. He will be Jnana Chakya. Others are the same thing mentioned here. They are intelligent men. And that intelligent man, when thoroughly understood what is the outcome of the desire, what is that he expected, has never come. If we have done so nicely, as we explained the process, then we would have very clearly understood we have never achieved happiness from any of our previous activities. Have we? Then why should we continue those activities which is not contributing to the self-realizations? Nor it is contributing to self-realization, neither it is contributing to self-realization, nor it make me happy. Then what a big fool I myself, I can very well understand. Provided I followed the process of introspection and process of regulated devotional service. This is the process of regulated devotional service, where we can analyze ourselves. If we are not doing, then definitely we will be missed somewhere. Even though the boat, which we are trying so hard to move fast, but its anchor is locked. Anchor is tight. There is a story, Guru Maharaj used to say, one is working so hard in the night to cross the river. He has a boat and he also is having a, what is that called? Ahula in English. I forgot. Means that makes a wave to move the boat. If you keep on blowing that, that ahula, so keep on blowing, but the anchor is tight. So if we are not introspecting, we are working so hard, just taking a big load of activities and not introspecting what is happening of that. They make so many plans, Kaitava dharmas, this and that, so many dharmas, which the Lord actually said, give up all these Kaitava dharmas. Sarva dharman paritejya. What dharma to be paritejya? Kaitava dharma to be paritejya. That dharma which have never contributed to your self-realization should be given up at once. That is the essence of all the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And we have taken that big load of Kaitava dharma. and thought that we have progressed a lot. But in the beginning, when sunshine came, that poor fellow saw that the anchor is tied. His all effort is just useless. That is why it is very important that we understand what is that we wanted and what is that we achieved. Have we got happiness? Nasti buddhi ajuktasya nacha ajuktasya bhavana nacha abhavayatah santi asantasya kutah sukham. The pleasure we try to give this body is very momentary. Sometimes you might have some physical sense of happiness. But how much is that happiness? How long can you enjoy the taste of the most delicious food? Rasgullas pleasure, how much you can get? Suppose you take one rasgulla for 1 second, 2 second taste is there in the tongue. You want to sustain that, so you take 30 rasgullas. So maybe maybe 15 minutes, maybe half an hour continuous satisfaction to the tongue. After that, belly is gone. So the physical pleasure, the psychological pleasure, and the spiritual pleasure are the three divisions. Fools are those who goes by the physical pleasure. Better intelligent are those who also works for psychological pleasure. So sometimes they are called Muni or Jnanis, and best are those who get the spiritual pleasure. They are called Bhaktas. They ever released the pleasure. So there are bigger things, in-depth things of difference between psychological and physical pleasure. One must study that thoroughly and understand that thoroughly. The way one thinks that bodily pleasure will be everything, or this Vedavadarata Partha Nanyata Sthitivadina. Those who thinks that Jamimam Puspitam Bacham Pravadanti Vipushita. Whatever described in Veda for sense enjoyment are the best thing to be done. So they will be lost with this physical pleasure and will never achieve the self-realizations. Thank you very much. I think I have crossed the limit. I have not seen the time also. Somehow Shravan Prabhu is nowadays not reminding. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much. Any questions?
Hare
And
Krishna, Prabhu.
please forgive if I have moved away the topic to different things which may not be understood. Please ask your doubt and confusion on this.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for this wonderful class. Yes, if anyone is having any question regarding today's class, they can raise the hand and ask His Grace Akrada Paramananda Prabhu. Prabhuji, so okay, our respect Maharaj is having something. Maharaj, please.
Dhanavad Maharaj.
You are not able to hear you, Maharaj.
Are you able to hear?
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
Acha. Prabhuji, here it is said that material actions or fruitive activities. So when one engaged, one gets the opposite result.
Yes.
So
Yes, Maharaj.
because they have desires.
Yes.
So if one acts without desires for future results, uh, he will achieve the highest goal of life. So
Yes, Maharaj.
is this true that when we engaged in devotional service, if we have desires or ulterior desires, do we
Yes.
also do we also get the results what we are working for? Results contrary to what we are working for.
Yes, Maharaj. Very nice. Very important point. Thank you, Maharaj. Yes. So when we have some ulterior desire uh, in devotional service, that is not good, but it is better than not doing the devotional service. So the best is definitely that a devotional service must be performed without any ulterior desire. Desire always creates some sorts of trouble. So when we, think about the pleasure, happiness, then the desire is counted. The state of mind is based on the state of desire it has and the state of achievement it has. So the state of achievement, state of desire is having a superimpositions. If that superpositions happen, then one become happy. If that superposition does not happen, the equilibrium lost, one become unhappy. So this state is always there. But if it is a devotional service, one might get some result the way he wanted. One might get a result which he has not wanted at all. Devotional service, if he is started devotional service, it is possible that Lord himself act in the very beginning. Lord only guide that pure devotee, no, that devotee, or Lord may assist that devotee through a pure devotee. So whenever one start devotional service, it is completely at the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Supreme Personality of Godhead may give a result which appear to be completely against the person desired. Yet it will be best beneficial to him. He might be seeing that his wealth is getting lost day by day. His relatives are, deserting him day by day. Or all that he thought to be happy with are deserting him day by day. But his happiness is really increasing day by day. So he will miss what he wanted as a result, but he will achieve what he wanted as a result of achieving those. So he will attain the purpose of this act. When somebody engages in devotional service, even with ulterior desire, he might face some of the challenges because of not achieving what is expected. But he will get happiness. Maybe in due course of time, when he will realize it. So that is the suffering which is because of the state of mental concoction and the state of the result, or state of what is achieved. When this superimposition doesn't happen, he will not have a psychological pleasure, however he will have a spiritual pleasure. Because of the spiritual progress, because of the spiritual enlightenment, because of continuous spiritual enlightenment, this mental concocted distress will be dissolved. that might remain for some time. The mental concocted distress is because of these two graphs, the mental state and the actual state, which is not superimposed. It will never be superimposed at all. That is the very reason the people of the Vedavadarata, or the follower of the Karmakanda, or the people of this material motivated activities never get happiness, because the state never matches. There is no superimposition, there is no equilibrium at all. When there is waves in the ocean, then it is not silent, right? Ocean water is always having waves, but river water is silent. So the state of happiness is so waved that state one will never get happiness. So the happiness at mental concocted state or psychological state, and happiness at the bodily. Bodily state can always be seen, but it is very momentary. So when one gets AC, its skin will get happy. When one gets strong sunshine, its body might be unhappy. But that is all momentary. The psychological state of happiness plays a bigger role. And these two states of happiness is completely unrelated to spiritual happiness. Completely has no link with spiritual happiness. However, when one do all these things for the pleasure of spiritual happiness, even these mental concocted distress or happiness. Similarly, the bodily happiness or distress can be mitigated. Means the example is that even though a devotee works very hard, becomes so much tired, but yet he enjoys happiness. Can see the devotees work so hard 24 hours. You see our Guru Maharaj. Okay, is in bodily level, in bodily platform, the senses might appear to be so exhausted, but they are so enlightened because of manasastu para buddhi, buddhi parasastu sa. Indriyani paranya ahur, indriyabhyo param mana, manasastu para buddhi, buddhisastu parasa. The spiritual living entities control the minds and mind control the senses. That's how everything are enlightened. And that real state of happiness occurs. So fortunate is those person who is having no desire. If still that person is fortunate, even with desires, he worship Krishna. Akamo sarvakamo mokshakamo. If he is a real intelligent person, tibrena bhakti yogena jajataha purusaparam. His udarati is the real intelligent persons. So this state should be analyzed. Actually, psychological state, or mental or physiological state should be analyzed and should be beared for some time. And at a gradual progress, it all will be dissolved. Those states will be realized. Thank you, Maharaj. Dhanavad.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, go ahead, Maharaj, please.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanavad Pranam, Maharaj. Jai Sri Sripad. All goes to you.
Fruitive activities or material activities, all these endeavor, because material means matter, so they cater to the need of the body or the mind, intelligence, whatever. They are all matter, correct? But
Yes.
why they cause frustration or negative result? All these things because the necessity of the soul is overlooked, ignored. In the devotional performance, the soul feels fulfilled, the inner sense. So in your presentation, you use the word chamatkar.
Yes.
So how you chamatkar subjective depending on the consciousness of the person, or maybe very much hankering and endeavoring to fulfill one's bodily or mental requirement, and if something appears, or happens, which he could not achieve by his regular endeavors, because when we say fruitive or material, that means it's very calculative. The motivation itself is calculative. If I do this much endeavor, if I do this, I will get this. If I do this, so that that way. But when in relation to devotional service, the soul is satisfied. My question is that when Rishabdev gives instructions to his sons, the tapo divyam. Tapo means endeavor, no? Endeavor. And so everybody is doing endeavor, everybody is doing tapasya. He is saying tapo divyam, do the divine tapasya. Tapo divyam putrika yena sattvam brahma saukhyam tanantam. To attain, you will experience unlimited transcendental or soul, fulfillment of the soul. So how you define this chamatkar? What kind of chamatkar is required? Because there are chamatkar at different level, and still a person remains unfulfilled. So if chamatkar happens in our life, should we remain still unfulfilled?
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you very much. So when we are talking about chamatkar, it is at spiritual level. When we are talking about happiness or distress, all these are at psychological and physiological level. So chamatkar is something that comes from spirit soul, from super soul, through the realizations of relationship, through the sambandha. Through sambandha, abhidheya, prayojana, one gets this amusement. So when one starts seeing the existence of soul, existence of the soul, that itself amazing for that spirit, that person. Ascharyavat pasyati. Someone hear about this topic with lots of amusement, lots of they understand these are all mysterious. If you hear about soul, if you see about the knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita, if you see about the existence of soul, if you hear about, if you think about, all these places is amusing. So this chamatkar, when happens, it happens from spiritual level to psychological level. That spiritual existence is realized and a psychological reflection is there. So spiritual to psychological reflections happens to such devotees of persons when he takes shelter of the pure devotees or takes shelter of pure devotional service. By taking shelter of pure devotional service under bona fide representatives, or sometimes also some people get direct mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead and get these realizations. The problem in ordinary living entity is that he has not realized the link between spiritual level or psychological level. Spiritual and psychological level linking is not there. The amusement state happens through the linking of psychological level deeper into spiritual platform. When buddhi acts under the guidance or under the consciousness exhibited by soul as Krishna consciousness. When consciousness of this body, mind and intelligence go beyond, when it reaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when it understands that I am eternally fragmental portions of Supreme Personality of Godhead and I have duty is to please him, and by that I will be pleased. In that state of Krishna consciousness, his intelligence is pierced with spiritual realizations. So the superpositions of the waves of psychological level and spiritual level happens, and the waves of material sufferings or material turbulence all get dissolved. With that equilibrium state, he only releases a higher domain of happiness which is perceived through devotional service. That is the chamatkar. That even present in a devotee in a very beginning state also. But his psychological state has not allowed him to enter in a persistent manner in the domain of spirituality. So that is a cloudy nature. What is cloudy nature? Just like sunshine sometimes come and some other time cloud covers the sun. In a cloudy sky, only for some time sunshine comes. Most other times clouds covers the suns. So that kind of, that is called some glimpse of realizations come intermittently. That is not a continuous realizations. So sometimes these, cloudy happiness gives a chamatkar, and one realize that and one hankers after that. Then he, by his regulated endeavor or by his, by the mercy of the spiritual master or by the continuous engagement in Krishna consciousness, by the mercy of spiritual master or by the order of spiritual master, then gradually that cloudy state dissolves. Then he get a continuous happiness or continuous realizations of the state of spiritual happiness. And his buddhi is completely controlled in the hand of Lord, which is called buddhi yoga. Surrendering the intelligence completely to the hand of spiritual master and to the hand of Supreme Personality of God. So in that buddhi yoga state, one will continuously release the spiritual realm and being dissolved from the state of mental concocted happiness and distress. These are some deeper, aspects where I might not be able to pierce through. Maharaj, you might comment on this, please.
No, wonderful, because chamatkar is very essential in our life. How deep and what level we feel overwhelmed, not overwhelmed, but more than fulfilled. Because chamatkar is a very amazing thing. But we have experienced, we do experience chamatkar at different level. A magician also shows chamatkar, correct? And the magic show is over after 3 hours. And how much it affects, how much it sustains our fulfillment. Chamatkar, which you mentioned regarding the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it was never experienced. Chamatkar means something which we never experienced in spite of our endeavor, something kripa, It's a kripa. Kripa is the chamatkar, correct? So Kripa is
Yes.
always unqualified. But in a conditioned state, in fruitive activities, why we endeavor? Because we are very much convinced that if I do this much endeavor, this much I will get. Otherwise, there would be no impetus to do the endeavor or austerity, no matter. But the outcome of the chamatkar, the spiritual fulfillment, is so huge that it's just like you found that you met God, correct? That Brahmana, when he was offering to his baby Krishna, and every time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come and eat his bhoga, one time, second time, and third time, and Krishna is telling, you are calling me and I am coming, why are you crying? So when he was blessed with that, he met Krishna, when he realized Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, then he found his total fulfillment. Because Yasmin Prapte Sarvam Evam Praptam Bhavati, Vedas say, correct? If you
Yes.
meet God, if you get God, if you know, if you realize that your search is accomplished completely. So then the transformation or the change will be reflected on the bodily platform, on the mental platform. Only due to lack of complete fulfillment, the so-called